After 45 years in medical practice, I thought I'd seen it all. But that early morning, the call I received would test every fiber of my experience. The phone rang at 3 a.m., interrupting my sleep. "Emergency at the hospital, Dr. Adams," said the voice on the other end. Without hesitation, I threw on my coat and rushed to the hospital. I recalled countless nights like this, facing the unexpected and always ready to save a life. The adrenaline started to flow through my veins, a sensation that was familiar to me, yet never lost its impact. Upon arriving at the hospital, the scene was frenetic. Samantha, a young woman 9 months pregnant, was being pushed on a stretcher, surrounded by doctors and nurses. There was a palpable mix of urgency and tension in the air. Every second counted. I saw John, her husband, trying to keep up with the stretcher, his face a mask of fear and hope. The fluorescent lights reflected off the walls, creating an almost surreal environment in a race against time. The pain in Samantha's eyes was evident, but there was also fierce determination. "Dr. Adams, we need you in the operating room now," called a nurse. I approached Samantha, trying to reassure her. She grabbed my hand, her tight grip revealing the pain and fear she was feeling. "We're going to take care of you and your baby," I assured her, trying to instill confidence with my words. John, visibly shaken, asked, "Is she going to be okay, doctor?" I looked him directly in the eyes and said, "We'll do everything possible, John. You need to be strong for her now." He nodded, trying to hide the tears that threatened to fall. I noticed his hands were trembling slightly, a reflection of the anxiety and despair he was trying to contain. Preparations for the surgery began immediately. The frantic pace in the room was almost choreographed, everyone knowing exactly what to do. "We need to stabilize her before we start," said the anesthetist, adjusting the equipment. "Monitoring vital signs," responded a nurse, her eyes fixed on the monitors. The tension in the air was almost tangible, and every movement seemed charged with meaning. As we prepared, my mind turned to other difficult moments. I remembered a similar surgery years ago, where a miracle occurred against all odds. That memory gave me a thread of hope, but also reminded me of the enormous responsibility I carried. Samantha and her baby's lives depended on our actions in that room. Memories of other critical cases and the lives saved and lost haunted me, reminding me of the fine line between success and tragedy. I looked around, recognizing familiar faces on my team. There was Dr. Stevens, a competent surgeon who always kept his cool under pressure. "Are we ready?" he asked, adjusting his glasses. "Ready," I replied, trying to ignore the weight of the situation. I remembered a night when Dr. Stevens and I worked side by side to save a young man involved in a serious car accident. His skill and composure had always impressed me. Beside me stood the head nurse, Carla, a veteran with over 20 years of experience. "We'll get them through this, Dr. Adams," she said, her gaze determined. Carla always managed to keep the team's morale high, even in the darkest moments. The memory of a complicated case we resolved together a decade ago surfaced, bringing a small comfort. Her ability to handle pressure was an anchor in storms like this. The tension in the operating room was palpable, but every team member knew there was no room for error. Time seemed to stretch and compress at the same time, as each step was taken with surgical precision. "Watch the blood pressure," warned the anesthetist. "Keeping it under control," responded Carla, her eyes never leaving the monitors. Among the team members was also the young Dr. Martinez, a brilliant resident who was gaining experience in high-pressure situations. "Doctor, the readings are stabilizing," he said, a touch of relief in his voice. I nodded, knowing that each small victory was crucial. I remembered how, at the beginning of his residency, Dr. Martinez hesitated during an emergency, but now he was growing and showing his true potential. The sound of monitors and the constant murmur of communications among the team created a symphony of controlled tension. Sweat began to trickle down my forehead, but my mind was focused. Every detail, every decision could make the difference between life and death. I looked at Samantha, who was now sedated, and promised myself that I would do everything in my power to ensure that she and her daughter survived this ordeal. With the preparations complete, we took a momentary pause to assess the situation. Samantha's gaze met mine again. "I'm scared," she whispered, almost inaudibly. I moved closer, holding her hand firmly. You are strong, Samantha. We are here with you. We will save you and your daughter. Time seemed to stop as we prepared for the next critical step. I looked at John, who was watching from the waiting area, his face a mix of despair and hope. Trust us, I said to him silently, before turning back to the operating table. I could see his lips moving in a silent prayer, seeking strength in a situation that was beyond his control. With everyone ready, the surgery was about to begin. Let's do this, I said, feeling the weight of responsibility in each word. I looked at my team, seeing determination on their faces. Each of us knew what was at stake. We were ready to fight with all our might to save those precious lives. The operation began, and the atmosphere in the operating room was almost palpable. Focus and precision were essential. Every movement had to be perfect. Dr. Stevens, at my side, handled the instruments with impressive dexterity. Let's get started, he said, his voice steady. I could feel the weight of each second passing, each more critical than the last. The first few minutes proceeded with almost mechanical precision. The team was coordinated, like a well-oiled machine. However, it wasn't long before complications began to arise. Excessive bleeding, warned Carla, her voice laden with concern. The hemorrhage was intense and unexpected, and we had to act quickly to control the situation. The pressure began to rise. Samantha's heart monitor emitted rhythmic sounds that seemed to synchronize with the beats of my own heart. Each beat sounded louder, echoing in my mind. Stay calm, we're stabilizing her, said Dr. Stevens, trying to keep everyone focused. Then the unexpected happened. One of the vital machines failed. The blood pressure monitor stopped, exclaimed Dr. Martinez, a touch of panic in his voice. We can't lose control now, I responded quickly. Change the equipment and keep your eyes on the patient. Time seemed to slow down, each second an unbearable wait as we waited for the machine to be replaced. The concentration was extreme. I heard every sound, every beep, every breath. The psychological pressure was immense. I felt each beat of Samantha's heart as if my own life was at stake. Blood pressure stabilized, finally announced Carla, bringing a slight relief. The critical moment arrived when the situation seemed bleak. Samantha began to show arrhythmias. The heart monitors set off alarms, and we knew we had to act quickly. Prepare the defibrillator, I ordered, my voice firm. Carla promptly handed over the equipment. Come on, Samantha, stay with us, I murmured, more to myself than to her. The electric shock was applied, and everyone held their breath. The team's eyes fixed on the monitors. The flat line turned into irregular peaks and then, finally, into regular beats. She's back, announced Dr. Martinez, relief evident in his voice. The entire room seemed to exhale a collective sigh of relief, but we knew there was still much to do. Reactions in the room varied. Carla maintained her calm, but I could see the glint of unshed tears in her eyes. Dr. Stevens shook his head, a small smile of relief on his face. Good job, team, he said, the tension still perceptible in his voice. We're far from finished, I reminded, bringing everyone back to focus. Samantha, in a rare moment of lucidity between doses of anesthesia, seemed to remember something. Her lips moved slightly and, though weak, I heard her murmur, John, our baby. The memory brought her back to the moment she and John discovered they were pregnant. The pure happiness of that day contrasted sharply with the life-or-death struggle she now faced. I continued to operate, feeling the weight of each decision. Precision was crucial. Every suture, every adjustment could be the difference between life and death. We need to finish this phase, the next will be even more critical, I said, keeping my voice firm and confident. As we progressed, a new complication arose. Blood pressure dropping again, warned Carla. Everyone's hands moved in a frantic, yet controlled rhythm. Stay calm. We'll stabilize her again, I said, trying to project confidence. Samantha's heart monitor began to emit regular sounds again, and I felt a wave of relief mixed with exhaustion. Each team member seemed to share this sentiment. We're getting there, said Dr. Stevens, his voice filled with determination. Finally, the critical phase of the surgery began to show signs of stabilization. I looked at my team, feeling a surge of pride and relief. We're on the right track. Keep focused, I instructed, feeling that, Despite all complications, we were finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The silence of concentration filled the room again. Each of us knew what was at stake, and we were ready to fight to the end. Samantha and her baby depended on us, and we wouldn't let failures or fears stop us. In the midst of the surgery, something unexpected happened. Samantha began to groan and writhed in a way I hadn't anticipated. "Dr. Adams, I think she's going into labor," said Carla, with a mix of shock and urgency in her voice. My heart raced. Not only were we fighting against serious complications, but now we faced an emergency delivery. "Everyone, get ready. We need to do this quickly and accurately," I said, trying to stay calm. Dr. Stevens adjusted Samantha's position while I gave the necessary instructions. "Carla, monitor the vital signs. Martinez, keep the blood pressure under control. We need a pediatrician here now," I ordered, knowing every second counted. The operating room turned into a scene of frenetic action. The focus and concentration of the team were palpable. Samantha was sweating and groaning, fighting against pain and exhaustion. "Come on, Samantha, you can do this," I encouraged her. Her eyes met mine for a brief moment, and I saw unexpected strength there. Grace's birth was a miracle. The baby's head began to appear and, within minutes, Grace came into the world, crying loudly and healthily. "She's here," exclaimed Carla, tears of relief in her eyes. I held Grace in my hands, feeling the weight of the miracle that had occurred. The cry of a newborn had never seemed so powerful. The emotions in the operating room were intense. Carla cried openly, Dr. Stevens smiled as I had never seen him before, and even Dr. Martinez seemed relieved beyond words. "It's a healthy girl," I said, with a smile that revealed my own joy. Everyone around smiled and hugged each other, an emotional wave sweeping through the room. Samantha's expression completely changed upon seeing her daughter. Fatigue and pain were replaced by renewed determination. "John, our baby," she murmured, with strength I didn't know she still had. "She's beautiful, Samantha." "You did it," I said, handing Grace over to a nurse for initial care. John, who had been watching from the waiting area, rushed into the room when he heard the first cries. His eyes were red with tears, but his smile was one of pure happiness. "Thank you, Doctor. Thank you all," he said, his voice breaking with emotion. "It's a miracle," I replied, feeling the weight of what I had witnessed. Watching the interaction between Samantha, John, and Grace, I couldn't help but think of my own family. This moment of miracle and renewal made me reflect on the sacrifices and miracles of life. The experience of seeing a new life begin amid so much danger was a powerful reminder of the fragility and strength of human existence. The words of encouragement and smiles of relief around were a symphony of emotions. "You're amazing, Samantha." "We're so proud of you," said John, holding her hand. "We'll get through this together," he added, his eyes shining with renewed hope. As Grace received the necessary care, Samantha seemed to gain strength with every passing moment. "I'm here, I will fight," she said, looking at her daughter with an intensity only a mother can have. The determination in her gaze was inspiring and moved everyone in the room. The birth of Grace was a moment I will never forget. It brought unexpected clarity about what it means to fight for life. Tonight, we witnessed a miracle. "I will never forget this," I told Carla, who nodded with tears in her eyes. Every member of the medical team was touched by this experience in profound ways. We're on the right track. "Now, we need to focus on ensuring Samantha fully recovers," said Dr. Stevens, reminding us that the battle was not yet over. As I stepped back to allow Samantha and John to have a moment with their daughter, I couldn't help but feel deep gratitude. There was something incredibly powerful about witnessing birth amid so much adversity. It was a reminder of why I chose this profession and the impact we can have on people's lives. With Grace safe and Samantha showing signs of recovery, we felt a collective relief. The tension eased, but the focus and determination remained. We had overcome a mountain, but there were still hills ahead. I looked at my team, feeling immense pride in each of them. At the end of that night, as I reflected on the events, I knew this was one of those moments that define careers and lives. There was something extraordinary about witnessing human resilience and the miracle of life. "Let's continue, team. There's a lot of work to do," I said, determined to ensure that Samantha and Grace had the bright future they deserved. Samantha's first days in the ICU were critical. The air was tense, every member of the medical team on high alert. Machines surrounding her bed monitored all vital signs, and every beep was analyzed with utmost attention. Blood pressure stable, reported Carla, but I knew each moment of stability was a temporary victory in a long battle. John never left Samantha's side. He held her hand, speaking words of encouragement even when she was unconscious. "You can do it, love. Our Grace is waiting for you," he said, his voice filled with hope and determination. Little Grace was often in John's arms, bringing a sense of life and renewal to the somber ICU environment. John and Grace's constant presence seemed to infuse Samantha with renewed strength. There were moments of despair, like when Samantha had an unexpected respiratory crisis. "She's desaturating," alerted Dr. Martinez. The team mobilized quickly. "Ventilation, now," I ordered, while Carla adjusted the oxygen levels. The tension was palpable, but together we managed to stabilize her again. Between these critical moments, there were also signs of hope. Small victories were celebrated as major triumphs. "She's responding to stimuli," said Dr. Stevens, a discreet smile on his face. Seeing Samantha open her eyes for the first time since the surgery was one of those moments. "John." "Grace," she whispered, her voice weak but determined. John's tears of relief were uncontrollable. Interactions with the medical team were frequent and necessary. Every decision was discussed in detail. "We need to adjust the medication to prevent new crises," suggested Dr. Stevens. "Agreed, but let's monitor closely," I responded, aware of the impact of each adjustment. Carla, always the anchor of the team, offered words of support to both colleagues and Samantha's family. "She's improving, one step at a time," she said, her voice firm and comforting. Samantha's progress was gradual, but each small advance was celebrated. "She managed to sit up today," reported Dr. Martinez, the relief in his voice evident. John kissed Samantha's forehead, smiling at Grace in his arms. "You're a warrior, Samantha. We're so proud of you," he said, love and admiration clear in his eyes. However, not everything was harmonious. The tension from the extreme situation brought interpersonal conflicts in the medical team to the surface. Dr. Stevens and Dr. Martinez had a disagreement about the next step in treatment. "We need to be more aggressive in therapy," argued Dr. Martinez. "We can't risk a relapse." "Caution is essential," countered Dr. Stevens. "Both have valid points, but let's find a middle ground," I intervened, striving to maintain team cohesion and effectiveness. These ethical and professional dilemmas were a constant weight. Each decision was a delicate balance between risk and benefit, life and death. The emotional pressure was intense. I found myself often reflecting on the responsibility of our choices. Each team member felt the weight of the lives in their hands. Samantha's recovery was a marathon, not a sprint. Each day brought new challenges, but also new hopes. "She managed to walk a few steps today," said Carla, with a gleam in her eyes. Samantha's strength was inspiring, and the presence of John and Grace was a testament to the power of love and family. As Samantha continued to fight and improve, the medical team grew increasingly united. Conflicts and dilemmas transformed into a collaborative effort to ensure the best possible care. "We're all in this together," I said during a meeting, feeling the support and determination of each one. Each advance Samantha made was proof of human resilience. Each smile from Grace was a reminder of why we do what we do. John, with his daughter in his arms, looked at Samantha with renewed hope. "We're almost there, love. Our family is getting stronger every day," he said, his voice filled with emotion. The days in the ICU were an emotional roller coaster, but each overcome challenge reinforced the faith in Samantha's recovery. The fight continues, but with each small victory, the horizon of hope became clearer and brighter. We were starting to breathe more easily. Samantha was showing consistent signs of recovery, and hope seemed to finally prevail. But on a quiet morning, when everything seemed under control, the monitors began to sound alarm bells. "Blood pressure dropping rapidly," Carla exclaimed, her voice tinged with controlled panic. I looked at the monitors, and my heart sank. Samantha was experiencing an unexpected relapse. Prepare the team for an emergency procedure, I ordered, trying to remain calm as my mind raced through possibilities and solutions. Dr. Stevens and Dr. Martinez quickly joined me. We need to decide now. If we don't act, we might lose her, Dr. Stevens said urgently, a rare sense of urgency in his voice. But the procedure is risky. She may not withstand it, argued Dr. Martinez, trying to weigh all options. We have no choice. We have to try, I responded, my voice firm but my heart heavy with responsibility. The tension in the operating room was palpable. Every second was crucial, and every decision could mean the difference between life and death. Monitoring vital signs, Carla reported, her eyes fixed on the monitors. Instruments ready, announced Dr. Stevens. Silence fell, laden with the maximum pressure we all felt. Let's go, team. Full focus, I instructed as we began the risky procedure. During each critical moment, my mind was focused. We need to stabilize her now, I said, adjusting the instruments. Carla beside me followed every move with precision. Blood pressure is slowly rising, she reported, bringing a thread of hope. The entire team was synchronized, each movement a coordinated effort to save Samantha. After moments that felt like hours, Samantha's vital signs began to stabilize. She's responding, Dr. Martinez said, relief in his voice. The tension in the room began to ease, replaced by a sense of achievement. Well done, everyone, I said, feeling a profound relief. We had gone through another emotional and medical roller coaster. Days later, Samantha was strong enough to be transferred to a regular room. The emotion of seeing her out of the ICU was indescribable. John was by her side, holding Grace, and the joy on their faces was palpable. You did it, love. We did it, John said, his voice choked with emotion. We're all together, as always, I replied, feeling a deep connection with this family. Reflecting on the entire journey, from the initial call in the early hours to Samantha's recovery, I felt a wave of emotions. The fragility of life, the power of love, and human resilience were clearer than ever. The experience had profoundly transformed me, both as a doctor and as a human being. There are moments that define our lives, and this was one of them, I thought, feeling the gravity and beauty of what we had lived through. This experience also changed my view of medicine. The responsibility, impact, and connection with each patient and their families were now more significant. Every life we touch leaves a mark on us, I said to Carla, who nodded, sharing the same perspective. The future for Samantha, John, and Grace seemed brighter now. We have so much to look forward to, John said, with a hopeful smile. Yes, the future is ours to build, Samantha replied, her voice full of determination. Uncertainty will always be present, but the strength they showed gave me a new perspective on hope and resilience. As I said goodbye to the family, I felt deep gratitude. This journey was a reminder of the power of love and hope, I thought. It wasn't just a lesson but a truth lived and felt by all of us. Reflecting on this experience, I realized the profound impact it had on my professional life. Every decision, every moment of tension, and every small or large victory shaped my view of medicine. We are more than doctors, we are guardians of hope, I said, feeling the truth of those words. Did you like our story? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.